Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta has lauded the country's partnership with China during a visit by Foreign Minister Wang Yi on Thursday. Kenyatta and Wang took a tour of the new Kipevu oil facility in Mombasa. President Kenyatta said that the new terminal will save $20 million lost annually to demurrage, and it will allow fleets to lose less time in offloading their fuel. Wang's African tour included Eritrea as well as the Comoros.
The new Kipevu oil terminal is one of the most modern in Africa, with the capacity to ensure cost-effective fuel and amounts adequate to serve the Kenya and the East and Central African region's needs. The Kenyan government has relied on Chinese loans to develop infrastructure, but faces criticism over the resulting debt burden.
Our partnership with China is not a partnership based on China telling us what we need. It is a partnership of friends working together to meet Kenya's social-economic agenda.
Kenyatta expressed Kenya's willingness to continue deepening mutually beneficial cooperation with China to achieve common development, saying the country is full of expectations for the future of Kenya-China relations. Kenyatta added that Kenya needed no lectures, but partners to help the country achieve what it requires.
We needed this facility to be able to cater for those demands. And China was there when we asked for partnership in developing it. They were there ready to walk with us hand in hand. And that indeed is what you call a friend. We do not need lectures about what we need. We need partners to help us achieve what we require.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi refuted the so-called allegation of a debt trap in Africa as groundless. He said it's just a narrative trap created and hyped up by someone with ulterior motives to smear China-Africa cooperation.
We are here to witness the genuine and sincere friendship between China and Africa. Over 600 years ago, the famous navigator Wang Yi led the biggest fleet at that time to pay a visit to Mombasa 3 times. What he presented to the local community was friendship and trust instead of colonization or slavery. Now, 600 years on, Chinese engineers and technicians, following on the illustrious footsteps of the navigator, have come again to Mombasa and helped build the best railway, best roads, and the best oil terminal we are witnessing today. And the facts speak the loudest, and history is the fairest judge. And I believe that our brothers and sisters in Kenya will have the final say on who is a true friend and partner of Kenya and Africa.
Wang added that all projects of China-Kenya have brought tangible benefits to the Kenyan people and boosted the country's national development and vitalization. Wang also noted that Kenya owes 80% of its foreign debt to multilateral financial institutions, and its debt to China is mainly concessional loans. Wang said that the China-Africa cooperation is a type of South-South cooperation featuring mutual support and help between developing countries, and that China has never attached any political conditions to its cooperation with Africa and has never imposed its own will on others. China has lent African countries billions of dollars as part of the Belt and Road Initiative, including $5 billion for the construction of a modern railway from the Kenyan port to Mombasa.
Well, for more on Kenya's anniversary, we are now joined by Dr. Margaret Munyani, who's a lecturer at international relations at Wits University. Dr. Munyani, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you.
Great to talk to you. Always good to have you on the program. How significant is it to have China's foreign minister visiting Kenya?
Yeah, so China has been a greatest partner to Kenya. Let's start from there. And actually, China as a state was among the very first countries to actually establish an embassy in Kenya immediately after independence. So the relationship between China and Kenya goes way long back into history, say 50 years now. So, and we see while between the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, it wasn't as much as we have seen it pick up in the 1990s and the 2000s. And there is a reason for that. In the
yes,
hello,
carry
sorry.
on. We can hear you.
So you find that in the 2000, that is when Kibaki came to power. Then he more of went to the east. So to the east means that he made China a key trade partner, and also China became the biggest lender to Kenya. And there are reasons for that. That the West, of course, it was argued at that time that the aid or the loans they gave to Kenya came with ties. But we see the involvement of China, not just in Kenya and but Africa at large, has been one where they adhere to the two principles. One, non-discrimination, in the sense that they trade with all countries across Africa. There's no discrimination. And two, there is the aspect of non-political interference. And that is not something that the West is very big about. And so Kibaki sought to have some paradigm shift. And so, and since then, we see that they have been consistent. Every year, when every other time when there is a new Chinese prime minister is voted, they make a trip to Africa. And so, not just Africa, but there have been consistent meetings between Chinese government key officials and the Kenyan government. And that also translates in the kind of investments that have been realized over the years, especially since Kibaki's era. We see now the Jomo Kenyatta Airport being funded a whooping 115 million US dollars, come the Thika Superhighway, and then there is the Malindi project, and so many other infrastructural projects, and not just the infrastructural aspect. There is the educational aspect, where now more Kenyans are getting scholarships to study in China. And even more interestingly is that Mandarin is now taught in some Kenyan universities and institutions of higher learning. So these meetings are very critical because their relationship between Kenya and China continues to grow over time. And so it is critical for the development of these two countries.
All right, so you've told us a compelling case for Kenya developing this relationship with China. What's in it for China? Because they are very invested in this country. And as you said, it's a long-standing relationship. And I suppose it's no coincidence that China Central Television, their Africa operation, is headquartered in Nairobi. What's in it for China?
Yeah, so there are various views regarding why to China, not just Kenya, but Africa as a whole, in the sense that there is you can look at it from the point of the geopolitical advantage that China gets by getting involved with as many African countries as possible, such that these countries give them a voice, say at the UN meetings, they're able to vote in favor of Chinese interests. And then there is the aspect of they're in business. They give out loans not for free. As a matter of fact, if you look at the SGR, that is the standard gauge railway loan that was given to Kenya, the loan never actually reached Kenya. It was the monies. I mean, the monies never reached Kenya, but the loan reached Kenya, in the sense that the monies were directly paid to the contractor, who is Chinese. So they are in business. So the Chinese Exim Bank sent money directly to the contractor, but it is the Kenyan government that is going to pay for the loan. So they are in business. It is important for them. It is important for their geopolitical interest, in the sense also from the point of view that they're trying to challenge the supremacy of the West, and specifically the US on the continent. And having Kenya, which has been a key partner to the US, on their side, it's a plus for them. So that's why Kenya is a very strategic partner has been a strategic partner to the US, and having them on board is like now leveling the field, or just getting the US out of the way. So from that point of view, it is more of geopolitical interests. And secondly, they are in trade, and they're about to make profits.
All right, again, a compelling case, and we talk about this new Kipevu oil facility in Mombasa, plus all the other infrastructure developments. The president interestingly said, we are not concerned about what people say in terms of who we work with. We look for the partners that are going to help us. It's almost as if he was expecting criticism, or it's criticism that he has received over time. What are the concerns that people have been putting on the table that he would say something like that?
Yeah, so I know where, probably I can speculate where that is coming from. If you look at the SGR, there have been a lot of criticism on the SGR project, given that they got 3.6 billion loan, and the same project Ethiopia was able to secure, in fact, a better train and a better project at a lower price. And then the expectation, of course, the government had said, negotiated, and they tried to convince the people that this loan is necessary, and when we build the railway, it will provide, of course, employment for Kenyans, and then the ease of transportation that would invite more investors in the country. There was all that, but that hasn't happened. Why? In fact, in the last 2 years that the railway has been on operation, it has been making losses. And you know, they have up to next year to start paying the loans. That means if they don't break even, then the government will have to take the money from the taxpayers' money and pay back that loan. So there is that great criticism, in the sense that the SGR is already making losses, a whopping 750 million Kenya shillings per month. So people are asking, why are we getting more loans and we are going to make losses, and then we are going to pay from our own pocket? So there is that criticism that has been ongoing. In fact, one activist already went to court to challenge the government, and the Kenyans at large, even on social media, that have been on the case of on the Kenyan government's case, like, please don't get more loans from China. It is overburdening. It is not translating to at the grassroots level. We can't see what is in for us as Kenyan citizens at the very local level.
Well,
so yeah, I know that's where it comes from.
Well, Chinese debt is not just a thing of Africa. The United States owes a lot of money to China, and Canada as well, if I'm not mistaken. But what is the real cost, do you think? Do you think that we, apart from real debts like these loans, are we finding ourselves more and more indebted to China to a point that actually perhaps our own freedoms, as much as they are enjoyed and they don't interfere, perhaps could slightly be compromised?
Yeah, of course, there are studies to that effect, that one, there is the reservations around the manner in which the Chinese loans are dispensed to the African countries. One, for instance, they do not allow that information to go out in the public, how much they're lending, what are the terms. You might just speculate a few clauses here, but they do not put it out in the public. So it's even hard to tell what is the exact debt that Africa owes to China. Secondly, they always have that upper hand that Chinese development loans actually do have collateral, which is, and if you are in the media and you heard this, that the Zambian airport was seized. So that means you have to give in something before you're given the loan. That is one thing that actually puts economics, the economics are very worried about, that we have to give them something as security in exchange for development loans. That's what makes them different from the West. Of course, the West have their different types of the regulations or the policies surrounding that. Mostly, they would ask for policies in the country to be changed, the manner in which things to be run, but not asking for collateral. And that is what makes the Chinese loans very sensitive. That's why some people have reservations. So there is that continued, what people call the debt trap. It's like we are trapped, like you have said, trapped for a very long time. You have given this opaque loans that are paid for a very long time. You are not even sure how long you are going to pay it. So that's where the reservations come in from. And the fact that they have an upper hand, that the contractors can even change the regulations once they have given you loans. Like once the Kenyan government realized that the SGR is making losses and they're supposed to start paying next year, and already it's estimated up, they were given 3.6 billion, but it's an estimation of 5 billion that is supposed to be repaid. So in last year, actually parliamentarians came together and said, no, we need to renegotiate and ask them for better terms. So even the government can see this is way too much for us. So there are those strings that are attached to these loans that we might make Africa sell its future, because they are invested in actually almost, like I said in the beginning, they do not discriminate. As long as you have a project they can work with you on, they take you on board. And it is mostly for their advantage. And even these infrastructures that are putting up, like the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, you realize those roads are built in the sub-Saharan Africa. And it is very strategic because they want to use that infrastructure to enter into the EU markets, not necessarily to enter into African markets. Because the EU markets, they sell more valuable, more expensive, let's say even in terms of phones. The most expensive Chinese phones are sold to the West. We only get the cheaper ones here in Africa. So for them, the EU market is very strategic for them. So they're building this infrastructure not to get to Africa or to make Africa a better place, but as a conduit to get into the European market.
All right, perhaps a final question. How do Kenyans feel about this China expansion on the continent and involvement in the country? We've seen tensions in countries like Zambia, where it actually even became an election issue in one presidential election cycle. What's the situation, the feeling about China's ever-growing involvement on the continent and in particular in Kenya?
Actually, there is a growing concern among many Kenyans. I stay here in South Africa, but you'll be surprised anytime I'm talking to someone back home, they will tell me, please come back and help us pay Chinese loans. They are aware of the debt, and they're worried that at the rate at which the debt is expanding, and they already know they're going to pay it for generations. So Kenyans, in fact, every other time that the government, the government has a meeting with the Chinese, you'll see Kenyans have an uproar on the social media that say, please, the president, please don't ask for more loans. We are not interested in more loans because we are getting more loans that the economy is not improving. It's not improving. It's not helping the local Kenyans. And 2 years ago, or in the last year, actually there were many, not even in the last year. If you look at the SGR, you realize there is a considerable number of Chinese who have taken up jobs, even as sweepers, along the train, and Kenyans complained, why would we get people who clean us from China, honestly? Why can't Kenyans get those jobs? So they are aware of the politics that are not deeply, but they know how a disadvantage they are when they get Chinese loans.
Dr. Monyani, thank you so much indeed. Always good talking to you. Your insights greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Okay, bye.